This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. The Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, responding to claims that he was responsible for the recent arrest of Democratic National Alliance leader Orinthia Komolafe and 10 other members of her party. Some have claimed that the Prime Minister organized this to happen. However, he says that's not the case. The DNA members were held at Central Police Station on East Street, where they were questioned and then detained for hours about their protest on March 3rd. National Security Minister Marvin Dames told reporters that no one told the Commissioner of Police to act and emphasized that politicians are not above the law. According to the Commissioner of Police, Paul Roll, DNA lacked a permit for when they protested outside of the House of Assembly several weeks ago. Mrs. Komolafe called the ordeal political victimization. The country recording 3 traffic fatalities this weekend. Police on New Providence, Abaco, and Andros are investigating traffic fatalities. Police here in the capital have launched an investigation into a traffic accident which occurred on Cumberland Street on Saturday. We're told that shortly before 5 p.m., officers were called to that accident and on their arrival met a collision involving a Nissan Cube and a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Police say both drivers were traveling along Cumberland Street when the driver of the Cube attempted to overtake the Jeep. The driver of the Cube hit the Jeep, lost control, and collided into a utility pole. The Nissan Cube was extensively damaged, and officers found an adult male unresponsive. Emergency medical service examined the body and determined that there were no signs of life. On Sunday, police on Abaco launched an investigation into an accident there. Shortly after 6 p.m., police at the Marsh Harbor Police Station were called to the SC Boodle Highway in the area of Calypso Hill. Officers upon arrival discovered a red GMC vehicle that was overturned, and some 15 feet from the body was the driver. Initial investigations revealed that the GMC vehicle was traveling eastbound on SC Boodle Highway at a high rate of speed when it lost control and flipped over repeatedly, causing the driver to be ejected. He later succumbed to his injuries on the scene. The male passenger who was on the scene was taken to the Marsh Harbor Community Clinic with minor injuries. Police are sending out a stern warning to the motoring public to drive within the speed limit, to always be attentive, and that driving with an electronic device is prohibited. The Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Department is investigating both of these fatalities, and a man also died over on Andros after the car he was driving collided into a utility pole. Police are now investigating this traffic fatality that occurred shortly after 5 p.m. on Friday. Police say officers were called to a traffic accident at the settlement of Stanyard Creek, Andros. When they arrived on scene, they met a dark blue Honda Accord with extensive damages as a result of it colliding into a utility pole. Closer inspection of the vehicle revealed that an unresponsive male was trapped in the wreckage. He was removed from the wreckage and transported to the community clinic, where he was later pronounced dead by the medical practitioner. Investigations into this matter continues. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force Marines have stepped up like never before over the past year as the country battled COVID-19, a once-in-a-generation pandemic. So says National Security Minister Marvin Dames in his remarks at the Royal Bahamas Defense Force's annual church service held at HMBS Coral Harbor on Sunday. Minister Dames also commending Marines as he noted that the Royal Bahamas Defense Force last year seized 2 foreign fishing vessels with excess of some 12 pounds of various fisheries products, which resulted in fines of some $1.7 million.
You continue to deliver on your strategic objectives for 2020 with significant success. Your integrated and balanced approach in this regard resulted in 243 migrants apprehended at sea. While these figures represented an 80% decrease compared to 2019, with 1,264 migrants were apprehended, it speaks to improved tracking and patrolling efforts.
Now, the minister also revealed that some $1.5 million has been approved for the construction of a fuel facility at HMBS Matthewtown, Inagua, and at Gunpoint on Ragged Island. He also spoke to the expansion of a fuel facility at HMBS Coral Harbor. The minister says that decentralization of the force is a top priority of the government, with the establishment of bases in the southern Bahamas.
With more than 100,000 square miles of maritime domain, the security of our borders remains a top priority for our government. As a result, supporting the introduction of state-of-the-art technology remains a priority. The installation and commissioning of the Bahamas Maritime Surveillance System in Inagua in April of 2019 is partly responsible for successful interdiction efforts and results. The multi-layered security network has assisted in maximizing the Defense Force's capabilities to detect and apprehend persons engaged in illicit activities in the southern Bahamas.
Minister Dames also noting that several capital works have been completed on HMBS Coral Harbor, which includes the training center and the auditorium.
Approval has been granted by our cabinet for the renovations to the North Gate building, valued at a cost of $280,000. Works totaling some $60,520 are underway for the extensions to the plinth houses to accommodate the Bahamas Power and Light's high voltage switchgear equipment. The electrification of the Coral Harbor base will facilitate shore power for patrol crafts, while berth at Coral Harbor base is progressing. And despite COVID-19 delays, the work will be completed before the end of this current budget cycle.
Overall, Minister Dames says despite the ongoing success for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, much more work needs to be done. You're watching JCN News. Stay.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.